welcome back to my channel. I am in my pajamas, my Christmas festive pajamas. So yes, I apologize, but I was getting ready and I thought, you know what, I've got a bit of time, so I'm going to quickly record something. We've had a very sort of full-on few days. On Saturday, it was my daughter's last day of horse riding before the Christmas break. So she got to dress up as an elf. She got to dress up her pony. And it was really fun. And it was just amazing to see how much she's progressed in the space of a year. She was even doing little jumps, which my heart was like going a million miles per hour. And yeah, she was just absolutely loving it. And yeah, she was really quite cautious when she first started. So just to see her confidence really blossom over the space of the last 12 months has really been amazing. So we did that. And then we went to their school Christmas fair, which was very nice. And then on the Sunday, we went and met some friends for lunch at a restaurant here called The Harbour, where it's probably the most festive restaurant you can go to this time of the year because they really go all out with the decorations. And they also had a Mickey and Minnie turn up, Christmas Mickey and Minnie, which was really lovely because we went to Disneyland in October this year. So my kids are full on Disney obsessed at the moment. And Santa was there, and there was music, live singer. So yeah, that was really, really nice. And then Monday, it was back into work mode. Well, I had paddle and I had Pilates, so I got sort of my exercise kick on Monday. That's probably going to be the last bit of like organized exercise I will do until the new year. And I went and got my nails done. So I got them like, I don't know if you can see, sort of like it doesn't show up very well on the camera actually. They're sort of like kind of like a natural, but with like a glittery tip. So I thought a little bit of festive, a hint of sparkle was was what I told my manicurist. Anyway, yeah, so I did that, and then it was getting a few sort of projects sort of wrapped up for this year in terms of work, and really kind of strategizing some of the bigger projects that we're working on for next year. So I had a couple of really exciting meetings, which these are meetings and projects, or one kind of significant project, which is really putting me out of my comfort zone, but in a very, very good way. It's something that I have been manifesting sort of the past year, and it's kind of really started only to kind of come to life at the beginning of this year. So I kind of set an intention at the end of last year that this was something that I wanted to do more of, and nothing really happened. For most of the year, nothing really happened with it. It was just kind of very small things. And then it seems like all of a sudden at the end of the year, it's like everything feels like it's coming all at once. And actually, whilst we're on this topic, this is something important because it can sometimes feel like when you are working towards a bigger goal and you've got sort of desires in mind that you want to manifest, can sometimes feel like nothing's really happening. It's very slow. Your goals don't seem to be happening in the timeframes that you want them to be, and it can start to get very frustrating. But I want to remind you that everything can happen in the final chapter. You know, it can happen all of a sudden, all at once. It can feel like it's very, very slow, and then you blink and it feels like the floodgates have opened, and then the better it gets, the better it gets. I've spoken about this topic a lot of times on my podcast because I've seen this play out so often within my own life and business, where I've just trusted the process. I've been patient, even when it feels like things are perhaps going backwards or going very slowly or just not working. I've trusted my vision, and I've trusted that things will always unfold when they are meant to, at the time that they're meant to. And that's definitely what I'm seeing in my life at the moment. So the project that I'm talking about specifically, I run a program called She Leads, which is a feminine leadership program. And one of my big goals was to be able to roll this out more within a corporate setting. So we've done a little bit within corporate, and we've had some sort of corporate clients, but it's been on a very sort of small scale basis. And really where I've been mostly delivering this program is to individuals. So entrepreneurs, women who are professionals that have just reached out to me directly, CEOs, women in business. The real kind of theme behind this program is women who are looking to step into their next level of success, of influence, of impact, and of income, but to do so without really forcing things, without having to kind of hustle harder, which is this very masculine mentality. Perhaps it's women that are experiencing stress and burnout, and they're kind of thinking, well, how do I get to my next level without just simply doing more? So my feminine leadership program is really about changing the narrative of how success is made and recognizing that we can do less and create more. And it's really about attracting more by looking at who we're being and recognizing that our energy and our belief system plays a very important role. And we can be both feminine and compassionate and soft and gentle and vulnerable, yet still create massive success. Doing less doesn't necessarily mean achieving less. So it's really about stepping out of this masculine way of working, which so much of the corporate world is based upon, so much of business is based upon this idea that we've got to compete, we've got to work hard, it's got to be a struggle, it's got to require sacrifice. And I do not believe this to be true. There is a part for taking action. Taking action definitely plays a role, but it doesn't need to come at the cost of our self-care, of our health, of, feeling that stress, that panic, that burnout. That doesn't need to be the norm of how we create success. So that is what my program is all about. And one of my goals for the last 12 months is to get this to more into a corporate setting, because I know that there is a desperate need for this within the corporate world to help get more women into leadership positions and to, help women who are incredibly capable realize how incredibly capable they are, rather than selling themselves short, as I think women so often do. So yes, but as I said, nothing's really happened significant over the last year. And then over the last week, I've been engaged in multiple different conversations with people that really, have influence within companies, significant companies. I'm talking like multi-billion pound companies, multi-billion dollar global companies. And so, starting to see that kind of start of my manifestation. It's only at the beginning stages still, but just starting to see that come to life. I'm like, wow, I'm really glad I just trusted the process and I didn't force things to happen. Because I feel like even now I kind of know that this almost feels like a better time for me energetically anyway. We're no longer renovating the house. My youngest daughter, she's, not breastfeeding anymore. So she's not as reliant on me anymore. So I've got a little bit more time and space and energy to do things. So I think for me, it was just this reminder that the universe is always going to deliver exactly when you're ready for it. Okay. So yes, I am ready for it, but something else that's it's brought to my attention, because this for me, as I said, I've done a little bit of work within corporate, but it's often been very much on a small scale, nothing kind of really hugely significant. And this for me is very outside of my comfort zone, because working within a corporate setting and selling my coaching and programs to large companies, it's a very, very different landscape to selling to individuals. And there's a lot more kind of hoops to jump through. It's a lot more of a complicated process. There's kind of like red tape that you have to get through, and kind of, just a lot more hoops to jump through essentially. And so it's scary. The people that I am liaising with, these are big people, big dogs. What's really interesting is that I am typically used to selling directly to my consumer. So the women that are investing in me, in my coaching programs, we're connecting directly with these women. Whereas within a corporate setting, a lot of the time, the people that are making a decision on these things are men. So it's interesting to be selling something that is so feminine, like a feminine leadership program, to somebody who isn't actually a woman. It's been very interesting and very, very much a a learning curve. I'm very much out of my comfort zone. And it's funny because I've been manifesting this and then all of a sudden it's arrived and I'm like, oh, am I ready for this? I don't feel ready. I don't feel prepared. I feel like an imposter, that imposter syndrome was kicking in. And I know that that's a false narrative that we so often create, as a way to keep ourselves playing small. So I kind of know the signs to look out for when it's that false imposter syndrome, when I need to remind myself, I'm ready for this, I'm qualified for this, I've got, the skills and the capacity, and my team are ready for this. But it's out of my comfort zone. But I have got very, very used to leaning into my zone of discomfort over the past few years. And really, I wanted to what I want to share with you guys now is some of the ways that I've been able to build up my tolerance for discomfort. Because if you are able to do this, if you are able to be super resilient to the things that feel uncomfortable, to the point that they don't derail you, to the point that maybe you feel that fear, but you are able to move through it, that capacity to lean into your discomfort is going to serve you very, very well if you are looking to get into that next level of growth, because it's that unwillingness to fully embrace the discomfort that I think keeps so many women playing small. So maybe it's discomfort in terms of you feel not ready for something, you don't feel confident enough. Maybe it's the discomfort of investing in yourself, like that is petrifying. If you're making a significant financial investment into your growth or into your business, maybe it's building new relationships, which feels discomfort. Maybe it's doing things that you've never done before, like stepping into the unknown, whatever it is. If you can build up that resilience to it, it is going to serve you very, very well. So for me, I consider that ability to get out of our comfort zone like a muscle. It's something that we can gradually build over time. So to begin with, if we rewind back to the beginning of my business journey, I shied away from my comfort zone, shied away from my zone of discomfort rather. And, I think many of us kind of experience this when something is new. It's like we put things off, we procrastinate on things. And I realized that it's going to be like a muscle. It's this muscle that I need to build over time. And we do this by finding opportunities on a daily basis, even if they're very small opportunities where we're forced to be outside of our comfort zone. And a really simple hack that you can do, which is going to help you with this tolerance to being in your zone of discomfort, but it's also going to help you mentally, physically, spiritually, is to have a cold shower. As cold as you can get it. Maybe you have an ice bath. Maybe you're already kind of doing this sort of thing. You've probably already heard the benefits of having like an ice bath or a super cold shower. But for me, one of the kind of the big things here is it's every day I'm presented with this opportunity to be in my zone of discomfort. And the first sort of few times that I started to do this, I was like, I hate this. This is awful. I hated being in my zone of discomfort, to the point where now it actually becomes something that I relish. Like I get excited, even though it still is uncomfortable. Every single day it's uncomfortable, it's painful, it's shock to my system. But I relish that being in my discomfort zone. So again, it's this muscle that we can build over time. Now, the other thing to be mindful of is when we're thinking of a big project that is outside of our comfort zone, rather than trying to go from 0 to 100 overnight, try taking small gradual steps to your ultimate destination. Now, the reason for this is, and I've seen this play out often with women who, let's say, for example, a lot of the women that I work with are becoming a coach. So I train coaches and I help them start that business online. That's one of my core programs, the Click Academy. Now, let's say somebody is part of that project to building their business. They want to start getting more visible on social media. And let's say they're at point 0 where they perhaps don't have, they don't even have an Instagram account. And they think, okay, I want to get more visible, so I'm going to create this hour-long training that I'm going to share on social media. And it's almost like they're trying to go from 0 to 100, and it sends their nervous system into overdrive to the point where it freaks out and completely then shuts down. So I spoke about a similar situation that happened to me when I was starting to drive here in Spain. So driving's never really been one of my strongest passions in life. I like being a passenger. And when we moved here, first of all, we were renting a car before we were waiting for a new car to arrive. So we were renting a car which was a manual, and I was used to driving. I had a Tesla back in the UK, which was automatic, it was electric, it was super easy, it was just push and go. So I was back to driving a manual again, and I was on the other side of the road. And my first trip that I decided to do was on the other side of town. And my nervous system completely freaked out because I tried to just go all in all at once. And it just sent my levels of anxiety and panic through the roof to the point where I thought, I'm not doing this again. I was completely overwhelmed and I thought, I'm just not going to drive. And then I didn't get behind the wheel again for another week. So my point is try and create, when you see sort of the bigger project, try and think, well, what is the smallest possible next step that I could take, and start with those incremental steps outside of your comfort zone. So, let's say you've got this place where you want to get to, start brainstorming all of the different action steps and start thinking, well, first of all, what's the most comfortable step that I could take? And then when it comes to the things that are uncomfortable, start small, start gradually building up that momentum rather than trying to go from 0 to 0 all at once. And when it comes to those big, scary things, what we want to do, because what's happening when we're scared of something, it's because it's new to us. Most of the time, it's because it's something that we've never done before. It's something that's unfamiliar. And the subconscious mind will always make us feel afraid of what is unfamiliar, because what it's trying to do, it's trying to protect us. It's saying, this is unknown to you. We don't know what's going to happen here. Therefore, it's the subconscious that's saying, this is scary. This is not safe. Stay where you are. And that's why so many of us keep ourselves playing small. It's because of how we are hardwired. So what we want to do is we want to almost trick the subconscious mind into believing that this is familiar to me. This is normal. This is normally how, I show up. This is, creating a video for social media. I do this all the time. Speaking in front of a room full of strangers. This isn't new to me. I've done this many a time before. If we can trick our subconscious mind into believing that the unfamiliar is actually familiar, we will feel a lot more comfortable stepping out of our comfort zone, because our subconscious is saying, this has already happened. It isn't new here. Nothing new to see here. So what we do is we tell our subconscious mind it's already happened by visioning what we want to do internally. So let's say it's speaking in front of a large room full of strangers. This is a really good one. You can visualize yourself and connect with that vision on an emotional level as well. So, imagine, if you close your eyes, imagine yourself on that stage. Tap into that feelings of speaking to an audience. Think about what you're wearing, how you're carrying yourself, how you are speaking. The more you can connect with that vision, the more you are convincing your subconscious mind that this scenario has already played out. Okay, so professional athletes do this. So let's say, for example, you've got a football team and it's a penalty shootout and it's the World Cup finals. They've already played out in their mind the vision of them hitting that ball, okay, so that they can feel more centered, calm, relaxed when they are called up to that penalty line, rather than stepping onto that line and it's a system, they're in a place of, overwhelm, anxious. They're perhaps feeling that fear a little bit, but it's going to be much less because in their subconscious, it's already happened. They've already got the ball into the back of the net, so it doesn't feel so scary. We also need to remember that this discomfort is going to be temporary. I think so often we think of our comfort zone or discomfort zone and all of the things that we need to do, and we think, oh gosh, we build it up to be bigger than what it needs to be, because the reality is that feeling is going to be very, very, very short-lived. Even just by doing something once that is outside of your comfort zone, it's going to start getting more familiar. Okay, so rather than kind of seeing this as this is going to be my life now where I'm doing this thing and it's uncomfortable and I'm not going to enjoy it, some of the things that actually you may be really scared of now may become some of the things that you enjoy doing the most. So for me, for example, creating videos, I hated this to begin with. I was petrified. You know, the thought of doing a podcast was so outside of my comfort zone. And now these have become the things that I really, really love doing. So, you know, it's a reminder that that feeling that you have right now, it is very, very short-lived, and it diminishes the more you start taking action outside of your comfort zone. Now, my final thing on this topic before rant over is that be mindful of complacency, because once you start doing things that are outside of your comfort zone, they start to become your new normal. And all of a sudden you're in this place where the things that you were afraid of, you do on a daily basis without even thinking of them. And that's great, because these are probably going to be things that will help you progress and maybe help your business or help your life. But there's going to be a point when you need to think about, well, what's next now? What's my next step? Because it's very easy to get complacent with the things that once felt scary, which now feel super comfortable. So we want to kind of always be looking forward into, like, how can I keep myself progressing? But we also want to still be in that energy of being grateful for how far we've already come. There's a reason for this. If we're constantly looking at what's next, like, what do I need to do now? So let's say you've got to a certain stage and you feel comfortable with doing something and you're thinking, right, I don't want to get too complacent here. I need to grow. I need to progress. If we're constantly looking forwards, what we're doing is we're looking at what we don't have yet. We're looking at what we need to do to get to where we want to be. And it's good to do this, but it can also put us in this place of lack, this energy of lack, because we're constantly looking at what we lack, what we don't have, you know, where we want to be, but we're not there yet. So yes, we need that forward looking energy to keep us moving forwards, but we also want to be reminding ourselves of how far we've already come. So this is where we want to be grateful of where we've progressed, where we've transformed, where we've put ourselves out of our comfort zone. So kind of gratitude for what has been, you know, one foot in that gratitude, but one foot also looking forwards as well. So there's got to be sort of this sweet spot between grateful for where I've been and how far I've already come, and excited for what's coming. So, you know, that constantly looking back, but equally looking forwards as well. Right, I am going to wrap this up because I have got presents to wrap. I've got more Christmas shopping to do. And yes, I've got some podcasts to record because I want to get on top of things for the new year. We are going skiing the first week of January. So yeah, I just want to get everything sort of organized so things are ready to be released in January. But yes, I will catch you soon, ladies. Bye.